Hey there, welcome to this episode of Cinema Crunch. My name is Rose Donahue, and we are filming at the Quantum Arc Media Studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. For a lot of people, it's important to look good on camera. So today, I'm speaking with makeup artist Barbra Jo Batterman. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Good. I'm loving the green memo.
Yes.
We were on it.
All I needed was the red hair, and we were sisters.
Oh my gosh. Next time.
Yes.
Actually, just to get this out of the way, do you do wigs as well?
No, I have an agency, and I have people that do wigs.
Okay, so we'll have
as you'll see next time.
Then we'll hook you up with the wig. Perfect.
It won't be me.
Okay.
That's like a whole other thing. But I have people that do wigs.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. That's good to know. We're focusing on your career today, though.
Yes.
Which has been in makeup. You've been a makeup artist for, you were saying, 44
years.
44 years. Amazing.
I know, it's a long time.
Well, how's the industry changed?
Well, from when I started, the industry has changed quite a bit, and more so than anything, I believe it's the technology and the sharpness of the cameras and the lenses and Photoshop and being able to shoot a film on your phone versus what you used to have to go through.
Yeah.
And with HD, of course, was a huge change in the makeup industry, and makeup lines have just exploded.
Yeah.
And there's just so many choices out there that it used to be airbrush, but now you don't have to airbrush for HD. I mean, there's other routes that you can take. So it's been a lot, and that's why you do continuing education, like you do in any field. And you'll never know everything, and you can always learn from somebody else. And I worked with someone today, and she worked with drag queens, and she was telling me about how to use clear deodorant. For anti-shine, and it seals it right in.
Okay.
It's like, oh, okay, so I learned something today.
Cool. Always learning something.
Right.
I imagine on different projects you get to just work with different people and pick up knowledge and share knowledge along the way.
Yes, and especially working with a celebrity that has been around for a while, you always learn from them. So whether it was Joan Rivers or somebody like that know their face and they know their makeup, and as much as I would like to maybe think that I could have taught her, I learned from her as well.
Yeah.
So people like that have been in the industry for such a long time, it's interesting.
What are some things that, if you have an actor is going to sit in your chair, what are some things that are helpful for you to know in advance, and some helpful things that they should know about themselves to tell you?
So the first thing is always skincare. So I always like to see a photo of whoever is going to sit in my chair, and then this way I know their comfort level. So it's about making them feel comfortable, but it's also about taking the direction from the director or from the agency or whomever is calling those shots, and being able to make your talent or your celebrity feel comfortable as well as keep everybody happy. So I always like to start with skincare, and therefore if they can exfoliate ahead of time, or they come with their skincare already on, depending how many people you have to do, that's very helpful. You don't need somebody that feels so dry that they put Vaseline on their face before they come to sit in your chair because, oh, I feel dry and I like that kind of a look. Well, it's not about you right now. It's about you. You're way too greasy and not going to work.
Yeah.
So I like to kind of, if I can have a conversation, or if it is a celebrity, I like to feel what their comfort level is, what they're used to. Maybe I have something better. Maybe I can learn from them. So it's about making that, especially with a celebrity, making them feel comfortable.
The comfort and communication as much as possible. And it depends project to project on what they should come ready with. Right.
So if it's a red carpet thing versus a live television, and not that they still can't be a little bit flexible with that, but if it's a stage, if it's theater, it's much different than it is if you're just walking the red carpet or you're doing a one-on-one interview. So the mediums are different.
Yeah.
So you have to know. So now it used to be if you were doing black and white photography, it would be done a certain way. Well, now black and white photography can be turned into color and vice versa. So it's a little bit more flexible that you can be with the makeup for that because it's all about dark and light and about shading and highlight anyway.
Yeah.
So that's just nothing new with the Kardashians. That's been around forever with makeup. So you just know dark and light and you know color. So even if it's somebody African American, they say, oh, well, do you know how to do African American makeup? It's not whether you know how to do it or not. It's whether you know color. So that's really important.
Distinction.
Yes.
Yeah. Are there like, is there a go-to tip that you could give someone across the board, no matter their ethnicity, no matter their age? Is there like a go-to beauty tip that works for everyone?
I would have to say eyebrows.
Oh, okay.
Because eyebrows frame your eyes, whether it's a man or a woman,
Okay.
whether you're young or old.
Okay.
It's not about that. It's really about framing your eyes.
Yeah.
And it's always about bringing out your eyes. So you don't want your eyebrows to be so overpowering, or that when I look at you, I want to see your eyes, and they should just frame them. They shouldn't overpower. So when I go to do a gentleman that may have my hair color, I'm not going to go with a Sharpie to fill it. I mean, he's never going to really feel comfortable like that.
Yeah.
And that could also be as bad as something too bright that it really catches your eye. So you can do a little bit of a mixture, but eyebrows, I would say, are a key.
Yeah. Key to
And
the
yes,
whole
and
drawing to the eye,
definitely.
facial balance.
Right. And
Yeah.
so many women overdo it when they're younger. They shave them, they tweeze too much, they never grow back. So I see a lot of eyebrow disasters. But now, I mean, I know it is. It's really a shame. And I like zero right in. I'm like, hi. It's kind of like, they're like, what are you looking at? Like I just kind of, kind of addicted to the brow. It makes a huge difference. So if you learn how to do it right for you, and there's basic rules, but it's very important.
Okay, very cool. I guess for health in general, getting enough sleep, but that probably helps with beauty as well.
No question about it.
Yeah.
I've learned the hard way.
Yeah.
From working 36 hours straight when I was younger, and learned that you just can't, it's not only can't you give your 1,000%, but it's just not good. You're blurry. I mean, I've been known in my past to work on those 4-hour turnaround times, and where you sleep for 4 hours and then you're back on set, and it's a 12-hour day, and it's tough. No matter, it has nothing to do with age. It's just, you're just not as sharp as when you get enough sleep. So I highly recommend the 8 hours sleep a night. Not that I got it last night, but I mean, it's a good goal to have.
Yeah. So that being said, what are some personal health and wellness things to keep in mind as a professional like you?
So what I've learned along the way from living those kind of hours and being a freelance artist for so many years, you don't always have your choice of hours. It's not a 9-to-5 job. So you kind of take what you can get when you can get it. Sometimes there's satellite media tours, and they start 2 or 3 in the morning, and they start on the East Coast and come west. So you have to learn how to live those hours, which aren't very easy. But what I have learned is that the sleep is really important, and the walking and the exercise is really important. And I'm not saying sleep for 3 hours and then go work out for an hour. I mean, when you need to sleep, you have to sleep. But it's so important for your body and your performance as well.
Yeah.
So you're just so much clearer in your thoughts and your work. Yes. And also your posture. I learned through the years, because for so many years of going like this and leaning over and dancing around the chair for the client in the chair, I'm like, no, now your head towards me. I'm not, and that your weight is distributed evenly on both of your feet.
So you're
it makes
stable
such a difference.
on the ground.
Yes.
Through your hips and back, I'm sure it's like a whole different
And
thing.
instead of dancing around the client in your chair, you move their head towards you.
Yeah.
And that they're fine with it.
Right.
But you move it instead of standing in these awkward positions, and especially if you weren't in circ, all of a sudden you're trying to hang it. It catches up with you.
That makes sense.
So I try when I teach somebody, I try to tell them, be aware, because if you learn that from the beginning and you're aware of it, it just becomes a habit and it becomes very natural.
That makes sense. Also, the person getting their makeup done most of the time aren't going to be in there for hours on end.
Right.
You get in
Hopefully not.
there. Right. Yeah. So for them to make some small adjustments compared to, whereas you might be standing there doing makeup for hours on end, depending on how many people there are. So that does sound like a very valuable adjustment.
Yes, it is. It's good for your health. It's good for you.
Yeah. What are some So are a makeup artist. You work with other makeup artists. You'll if you're booked, you get other people booked on your behalf and stuff
I
like
do.
that. What are some really good qualities of strong makeup artists?
Okay, number one is being able to read body language. So it's not. I'm not saying it's not important to be a great makeup artist, which we have a ton of them here. We do, but it's more than just that. When you're in somebody else's space, and whether it is an actor, an insecure wannabe actor, or a celebrity, you have to let them know that you're the professional, but you still have to respect them. If they're in their minds, I mean, I do a lot of corporate work, and you're dealing with, VPs and really huge people from huge companies. And sometimes they feel like talking to you, and sometimes they don't. So it's very important to know when to be quiet, when there's quiet time.
Sure, yeah.
And just because they brought up something about their dog doesn't mean they want to hear about your cat and all your animals or your baby. So you really have to kind of see, were they just being nice saying that? Or do they really just want the peace and quiet to think about that they're going to get up and speak in front of 5,000 people or whatever the case is?
Sure.
So you really have to be able to read their body language and know that there doesn't always have to be conversation going on. Sometimes quiet time is good.
Okay, good takeaway. And then in terms of actual technical skills, as you mentioned earlier, understanding color. I imagine, like a surgeon, you have to have a steady hand on some of
Yes.
the work you're doing.
I think one of the most important things, as I said earlier, was about skin. And if you can get the skin right, whatever you put on top of it just lays. So it's like working on a clean canvas. And once you get your canvas all one color, then you put your color and your depth and your contour
Nice.
wherever you need it. And a lot of times, it's not always about what I would do. It's about taking directions from the director.
Right.
So I just follow their direction, and sometimes I'd like to do a little bit more or maybe a little bit less, but sometimes that role doesn't call for that. So it is about being able to talk to people and know how to make whoever in your chair comfortable enough. I try not to give anybody a mirror unless I'm giving a lesson because they start basically judging, oh, well, I don't like that, and that's not what I do. And I start with eyes first instead of face most of the time. So then they just see the eyes and they don't see the balance. So it's like hiring a decorator to do your house, but you just can't visualize what it's going to look like at the end.
Sure, yeah.
So it's very much like that even when it comes to a face. So I try to find out what they're comfortable with, listen to the director, and then find that happy medium. Of course, being professional, doing what I do best, and making everybody happy.
Yeah. Is the director the person that you work with most closely on set, on the team?
Usually it's the director that gives the direction, but then you have agency people. Many times there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen. So somebody will show you a photo and say, well, I want it to look like this. And then someone else will show you a picture of something else. And it's like, okay, well, who do I listen to here? And then I have my opinion, especially if it's outside in the elements. Well, can't you spray that hair? No, I can't because it's windy and then a
wind.
clump blows
Yeah,
away.
sure.
So nothing more unnatural than that. So it's a matter of working with the elements and working with the creative and working with the director. And I like to try to get an idea with a photo first because even someone will say, well, I want a very dramatic. Like my dramatic and your dramatic are probably two different things.
Sure.
So if you don't wear anything, the minute you put on a little mascara and some lip gloss, it's like, oh,
Right.
compared to maybe what I would wear,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
could be dramatic
Sure.
or even more or less. So the communication is huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So pictures are always good.
Pictures are good,
Yes.
communication, talk it out. Are there things that you just always keep in mind, like if you're for the different types of projects? So like a commercial versus a concert versus a political ad versus I don't know, like adventure ad, like.
So if something's being done outside and yeah, you still have to even out their skin tone, but they're usually extremely natural.
Sure.
So it's not a lot of highlight. It's definitely not shine. Highlighting means so much to people these days, and especially here in Las Vegas with the glitter. If you tell them it's a night shot and they're going to come with their makeup done, you're going to see glitter, and then you just can't get it off.
Right.
So I like to say, forget all the frosted and forget all that. We could always add that if it calls for it.
Yeah.
So something outside natural. Tinted moisturizers are great, depending if it's good skin or not. Even a tinted lip moisturizer is good. It doesn't have to be something strong or something like that. And then versus like corporate, where when you're up on a stage like that, the lighting is not just for you. So it's for everybody. So whether it's the lightest skin to the darkest skin, you're under that lighting. So you have to find like a happy medium. And a lot of times the person on stage is walking back and forth. So
right.
I like to try to look in the monitor if there's a truck back there, if it's being run live or whatever. I'd like to be able to go look at that. But you don't always, you have to kind of go with something that you think is going to work.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I notice, especially with a lot of my younger artists, because they're not used to wearing blush, they come from that bronzy world. They just want to look bronze. A lot of times, like, there's not enough color.
Oh, interesting.
So you can kind of judge by your artist what they like, even with someone with eyebrows, or because I'm so into doing brows. And someone from out of town will say, "Well, back home I can't find anyone." I'm like, just look at their brows, because they're probably going to do what they like.
Oh,
And if you get
to
somebody
your
with a really
eyebrows.
skinny arched brow, that's probably
You're
what
gonna
they
get a
like.
skinny arched
exactly.
brow, okay.
So you don't
Yeah.
want the parenthesis brow and that kind of thing, or the scared look, or the happy look. So
Okay. Yeah.
it's a good way to judge. And not that artists don't know. I might know really natural makeup and very dramatic makeup, and even though I may be a little bit more dramatic this time or today or whatever, doesn't mean I can't do natural.
Right, right.
So you can't
To-
always judge them like that, but it's a good guide.
Right, good guide.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a talented makeup artist, they
They
are
know,
aware of the
right,
spectrum
yeah, they
of
know that,
looks.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just know.
So, what are some things that you do, like outside of the production days? Like, what are some things both for your business, because you have a business,
Mm-hmm.
and then like care and keeping of your tools and staying up to date?
So I have a studio that I have so much makeup, so many brushes, and you always
Yeah.
need more. I mean, it's an addiction. There's
Really?
no question.
Okay.
And then if I work with other artists, whether it be on an award show or something like that, we're always comparing notes. It's like, oh, did you see this? And this company came out with this. It's like, oh, I have to get that. Yeah, it's an addiction. I mean, you're on Amazon, you're ordering right away. It's like, oh, okay, let me
So
get
many
that right
brushes
now.
to choose from.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to keep up with it, but there's sometimes that the rules really don't change. So I understand there's new brushes and there's mink lashes, and do you really need that to get the look? And then you have people that are vegan. They're like, no, I'm not interested in that.
Sure.
So it's an interesting. You just kind of want to keep everybody happy, but mink lashes is probably the perfect example. Do you really need them? Mm-hmm. There's plenty of natural looking lashes out there if that's what you want. Do you really need the mink? What makes them that much better? Mm-hmm. So it's good to be aware of these things, but
Discerning about
yes,
them.
but I don't know if you need to invest in that for your kid unless you have a certain client that requests it, and you know that they're going to pay for it. But that wouldn't be a line I would carry in my kit. Foundations, I'm always trying. Concealers, I'm always trying. I'm in the market for a new lip liner right now. Yeah, I'm always kind of, always
Searching,
right.
playing the
There's
field.
always something.
Yeah.
And then taking care of the kit is an endless project.
Yeah.
You look at somebody else's, well, how did you get all that? And it's so compact. And with me, I mean, I just came from a set and I had Windex because they needed a mirror clean. And I had a steamer because I happened to needed a steamer. Because I might be a little over prepared, and some of my artists will say to me, it's like it's a game. Do you have a corkscrew? Nail clippers. I'm like, I don't have it today, but I'll have it tomorrow. I'm like, what makeup artist has to carry a corkscrew? I mean, it's not for me. I don't even drink wine. But, somebody will come up at some point and ask for something random.
Yeah.
That, maybe that's going to be the thing. They're like, oh, she's really prepared. Let's bring her back again.
Sure.
So it's not just about having your makeup brushes and your blush with you.
That's a whole nother aspect of a good quality of makeup artist. Just be ready for anything.
And the kit gets so heavy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And
I bet.
especially here where they a lot of times expect you to do hair, makeup,
Right.
wardrobe, medic. All of a sudden you're the nurse. Oh, do you have any Neosporin? Do you have that? Okay, here we go. Band-Aids. Oh, well, oh, you have a
Wow.
blister? Okay. Oh, you need moleskin? Okay.
Sure, why not?
Pedicure? Not here.
Not today.
No.
Not happening. That's funny. So are there other tips that you would give to someone starting out as a makeup artist today?
My biggest tip would be to probably go work in a department store or a Sephora. Just get paid to be playing around with the makeup. Because now there are places like that, unlike years ago where there really weren't. It was a department store or nothing. But what I've learned is that if they get some kind of training in cosmetics, it gives them a feel, and they get paid to do that. So if you really just want to dive right in or financially can afford not to work, I would say go out and get with any makeup artist you can. Go test, get with a photographer. Get it's so much about the content that you have for your social media.
Right.
And it's so important. And I don't only mean Instagram. And I don't mean 20 filters that it's already been through, because I come from the old school and I don't believe in that. So I'm about the real images. And because I've been doing it for such a long time, where photographers, you had to have it exactly right.
Sure.
So now it's like, oh, don't worry, we can fix it in Photoshop. Or
Fix
it's
it in
like, no,
post.
what's the matter with it being perfect? Why can't you strive to make it perfect? So sometimes you're running up against the lighting, and sometimes you don't have time to do all that, or whatever the case may be, and I understand that. But on the other hand, it's like you strive for perfection.
Yeah.
And I also learned, like, from leaning over or from not seeing somebody straight on, that there'll be times where one eye is heavier than the other, or this one isn't even, and then I'll have to walk away and then come back and stand behind and look at them in a mirror, head, front way. And because, you're always on the side like this, and it looks a different way.
Yeah.
So it's a way to examine your work, but it's really, you strive for perfection.
Okay. All right. So start and then just keep doing it.
And just do whatever you can. Do telethons. Do free whatever. Do kids. Do parties. Do whatever you can just to get a feel with it. And also, working in the hair and makeup industry, you also find out what avenue you want to take. Is it special effects? Is it theater? What kind of makeup do you really enjoy? Is it body makeup? Is it body painting? Is it, so there's so many avenues to take. And I usually have recommended to people that are just getting started, if you get a cosmetologist license, you're probably better off. And even though it's time and it's expensive, once you have your license, it won't stop you. You have to have a license to be in the union and all kinds of stuff like that.
Sure.
So you don't want all of a sudden for it to
have
stop.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether you ever, I never worked in a salon, but I'm licensed. And do I cut hair? No way. But I'm licensed.
Yeah.
So should I ever decide I would ever want to go into that? I don't ever see that happening in this life. But should that ever be, there's nothing holding me
You're
back.
ready for it.
Yes.
Very cool. Well, where can we find more about you? More information.
Oh, okay. So I have bjbatterman.com is my website. I'm also on Facebook. I am on Instagram. Then I also have my agency, the Batterman Group, and I'm on Instagram with that, and I'm on Facebook with that, and would love the followers. I also do a newsletter, so if anyone's interested in my newsletter monthly.
I've enjoyed your newsletter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please drop me an email at bj@thebattermangroup.com, and would love to get you on the list.
Perfect.
And I'm always looking for tips or any products that you like or products you want me to review or things like that. There's so much out there, and
Totally.
between trying to work and trying to take care of myself. And, there's no way to try all the products. So I always like feedback.
Suggestions.
Yes.
Feedback suggestions.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks,
well, you are
Rose.
definitely reachable. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
This was awesome.
Yeah, this was good.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yeah, right? Totally. We're ready. Okay, so thank you all for joining me today with Barbra Jo. This was another episode of Cinema Crunch. Again, my name is Rose Donahue, and we're filming at the Quantum Arc Media Studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. Have a great day.